I had the opportunity to road trip down to Oklahoma to visit a sweet family that left the suburbs in corporate America to pursue life on a homestead. I woke up in the dark and cruised down cool, vacant highways that emerged to light and warm Oklahoma countryside. What struck me most when talking to John and his family is their collective passion for the lifestyle they are pursuing. As we walked between pigs and chickens and zinnias, his young girls were in tow, just as eager to show off purple flowers and piglets as their papa. John and his family are a perfect example that you don't need to have the answer to everything before starting, a lesson many of us gardeners and homesteaders, practicing or aspiring, would do well to learn. I hope this family and their Oklahoma claim bless you as much as they blessed me. Come on along as we take a tour. All right, so we are driving to Oklahoma to film a tour of a homesteader that's doing some really cool things. Woke up early this morning, got my coffee. I'm driving through the beautiful backcountry of Missouri to get out here. It's been a great drive, peaceful. It's cool to see all the farm animals and the farms and the sunrise. So I'm excited to take you on this journey with me, on this adventure of seeing this homestead again in Oklahoma. Come on along.
So our property's kind of split up. We're like 4 acres.
Okay.
Back here, back past this fence. The fence kind of runs all the way down that way. And 4 acres that way, and about 3 acres up here up front where we don't have any animals. We plan on just rotationally grazing them back there. Okay. Right now, they kind of have just one big area to go wherever they want, simply because I haven't gotten the electric fencing, all that installed. What we're going to do there, but
are you going to raise for meat, or are they egg laying, or what are your plans for?
So Sarah and the ducks are coming up. There you go. You talk about them.
The ducks, they are for eggs.
Okay.
They lay a lot bigger egg than a chicken egg.
Yeah.
They have a higher fat percentage compared to a chicken egg, so I like to use them for baking. The chickens, we have more ducks than we do chickens.
Okay.
The chickens we use for eggs. We haven't butchered any.
So the sheep, we just recently got them. We've had a couple, they're not here right now, but there's 2 miniature cows out there. They're zebus that were given to us for free.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
At the time, we really wanted livestock, but we couldn't afford it, and so fortunately, her old cheerleading coach.
Yeah.
No way.
Just randomly messaged us and was like, "Hey, do you guys want? You want a couple cows?" We're like,
"That's why you let them live out here."
Yeah. We try to zoom in. It's like, is that how big they are? Is that how big they're gonna get? But
a lot of people think they're like goats. Like they're like those are cows.
Goats or calves for sure.
Yeah.
But
wow.
But anyway, so we started with them, and then now we've got 12 sheep that we're going to be raising for meat mainly.
Is that like a new thing completely for you, or do you have experience for that?
Nope, completely new, but just figuring out.
I was gonna say, how do you learn? Like, how do you just take
YouTube,
plunge, get them? And,
YouTube, Greg Judy mainly, who I've learned a lot from, and then we have some people who we got our sheep from. She's an incredible wealth of knowledge, and she doesn't live too far away from us, so I can just drive to her house.
Or a quick text.
Yeah, exactly. So the information's out there. It's just actually trying to do it and learn.
What's the vision for the homestead?
So we have 7 acres here, so it's not a ton, but to be able to produce as much food as we can for our family and our extended family and our friends and also our clients. When we had our gym, we had a small little garden that I'd try to give people basil on their way out, something like that. And so that's the same kind of vision we have here is just trying to build a place that we can, like I said, sustain our family and help other people eat healthier, and have good food that they can.
Want to know where their meat comes from.
Yeah.
Where did that all kind of come from?
Yeah, I mean, we were kind of forced into it in a way. When I had quit my corporate job, and we had our gym, we weren't making a ton of money, just trying to build and grow that business. And COVID happened, and so we couldn't see our clients because it was illegal for people to come into your house at that time.
Yeah.
Right.
It might be a little bit different now, but so we didn't have a good source of income. So we're like, well, we can't sustain this life. Started looking for other ways to like reduce. Like, well, let's see, these are our costs,
Yeah.
Food.
How do we reduce all that stuff down?
How do we reduce all that
and so, do it in a healthy way?
That,
right?
Yeah. I was gonna say clean meat. Knowing where it comes from, and what better way if you're doing it yourself?
100%.
I mean,
Absolutely. There's a cool thing like when you're connected to what you're eating,
Right.
you know, and you see that, you know, like that, obviously growing things, but also growing livestock. It's a unique thing, especially for us that have kids.
Oh, yeah.
Like that's my biggest thing. Get them out in the garden, get them
Right.
dirty, because people don't know. Kids his
Yeah.
age do not know. They have no concept.
Right.
And it's just healthy,
Yeah.
you know?
That and having the chickens and the pigs, they definitely eliminate a lot of waste. You know,
Yes.
waste that we produce.
Scraps.
Old stuff that we like. Oh, we thought we were gonna eat that, but we
Yeah.
didn't. You know, it's like
Or
I can
someone
go-
leaves it sitting on the table.
Yeah.
And,
exactly.
yeah.
That's
But
fantastic.
These wood chips get dropped off here now, but
Tree companies?
yeah. Met some friends, and they started dumping them here. But originally, I said when I first met him, I said, "Hey, you got any wood chips?" You know, he's like, "Yeah, but they're at my house. You got to come get them." And so that was not how I had envisioned my
Correct.
first load of wood
You
chips
needed
coming.
delivery, right?
Yeah, so
But he was so excited though.
Oh yeah, I got pictures of, you know, I'm loading it, you know. And so most of that, or all that
shoot.
is out in the garden now.
Okay,
And
all
so
right.
now they dump it here, so it's just like I got too much now.
That's
so,
awesome. So are you doing like the Back to Eden
Yep.
thing? Is that what the inspiration was for it?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's not just with wood chips; it's also with grass.
The
I think
grass.
you know his, because we went and saw his.
No way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we had to.
What's his name again?
Paul Gauchi.
Yeah.
I can call him up real quick.
Oh,
PG.
Stop. He's like, I got him on
PG.
speed dial. Listen.
No.
That's awesome, dude.
No, but seriously, he said on his videos, call him if
Yeah.
you have any questions. I literally called him and asked him multiple questions about pruning.
No way.
Super nice guy. We went and saw his garden, and so
Is he out in Washington?
yeah.
Yeah, and we were in Oregon, and so John was
Okay.
like, "We are this far, like
Got
we
to.
are." So
Got to.
we had went to see
Oh,
his
that's-
aunt and
I'm so
uncle,
jealous.
and
Yeah.
so the girls stayed with them, and we drove up a little bit further, and
So yeah.
Unbelievable.
So his orchard is
Unbelievable.
Oh my gosh. We have a ton of grass available, so that's why I use a lot of that.
Yep.
Um,
I love that because you don't see that very often. You're starting to see a lot of the wood chip things, but
Yeah.
it's pluses and minuses with the wood chips.
Right.
Because that's what we do, and it's great. But sometimes it takes a couple years to like
Yeah.
get going, and
Right.
you want the nutrient levels to be right, and it can kind of
Right.
throw it off a little bit. So
And then Jim Kowaleski, he's got a lot of videos on YouTube, and
Okay.
that's just how he kind of does. Up in Maine, he size and uses all that grass for the way that he grows, and so.
wow.
But yeah, so we got different kinds of wood chips. So
Yep.
these ones right here,
Yep.
and I never know what's coming. You know, sometimes they're going to be real fine. Sometimes they'll have some bigger branches in it. But these ones are like more pine.
I
I
can
don't know.
smell
if it's- See, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I've been using that in the piglet's pen,
Okay.
and to help freshen that up a little bit.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And then
I
these
use
ones
them in
have
the
a little bit of
coop.
leaves mixed in, and so
makes a lot of
sense.
yeah, in the coop. Yeah, so we've got some mixture of pear and plum,
Okay.
some apple, some that are dead, some that the deer have taken off,
And then are deer like a big thing out here?
Yeah,
Pest?
yeah,
I
so-
would imagine.
and I don't have any sort of deer fence yet,
Yep.
which I don't really want to. I just don't like the aesthetic of it, and I'd rather have a dog out here,
Sure.
protecting. But that's going to require some other type of fencing. So.
Right, on the property.
It's just one of those things, and the big trees that you see here, those
Yeah.
I obviously did not plant because those would have grown way too fast. But
Yeah.
those are all pecan trees that
Oh, cool.
That
my
her grandpa
papa
planted,
Oh, that's amazing.
And grafted onto.
No
and-
way.
Yeah.
So he planted
Wow.
those every 60 feet, just perfectly on a square. And so what I did from that was just added a couple more trees in between, so they're like
Yeah.
every 20 feet.
So where do you get your plants from mostly?
These ones I got on. Most of them I got from Burnt Ridge Nursery online.
You just
And
order them in?
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of different companies that you can order.
Okay.
Bare Root is what I
Okay.
got.
You started from bare root. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's been, there's people that say, get potted trees because they're bigger from the start, so you might get more fruit sooner. There's other people that say that get bare root because it'll be better for the root system
heard
and
that,
better
yeah.
yields in the long term. So
Right.
I've go with what Paul Gauchi had said,
Yeah.
after seeing his orchard, so
That's
got bare
cool.
root, but
That's very
yeah,
cool.
some of them have survived, some of them haven't.
So what are these small? What is this, apple?
Yeah, this one's a pear.
Oh, that's pear. Okay.
This one's a pear.
All right.
But yeah, basically taking all the grass from the aisles and cutting it and put it in those rows. Eventually I'll have berry bushes and stuff
Okay.
growing through there. I've got a couple grapevines planted
Yeah, I just started that
in
this
there,
year.
so I'm hoping to have trellises coming down the middle
Love
here.
it.
Yeah, so
Love it. What's this one here?
that's a plum.
Plum tree. Okay.
So that one growing pretty fast. I've already pruned that once or
Okay.
twice, I think, this year. And so I need to prune it again. A lot of that stuff that's grown up in the middle just needs to be
Yeah.
taken out a little bit. But yeah, most of the trees need pruned.
Yeah.
Started just a little, a few beds, and then expanded out from there.
Uh-huh.
So here I'm experimenting with just having this whole area sheet mulched with grass.
Okay.
So you can see some of the Bermuda coming through.
Yep.
But I mean, it's just kind of like any other weed. You can pull it, and then what I plan on doing is just covering it with more grass. So I'll go through, pull it, just real easy, and then sheet mulch it again, and then eventually it should.
Will this be like a new bed for you?
Yeah,
eventually.
So I have sweet potatoes planted right here.
Oh yeah.
A deer seem to enjoy those. But yeah, so there's a little bit of grass. Just pull it out of the way.
Love it.
And then I usually just leave it on top.
That's so cool though how you've integrated what you have available. I really like that. What you have available for the mulch, you just use it, and it's like an ecosystem.
Exactly.
It's like all here.
So it's like I got to cut the grass anyway, and I'd rather not cut it. You know, that much of it so many times. Absolutely. You know, over and over and over, and spending hours and hours on a mower. It's like I'll let it grow for a long period, and then I'll use it as mulch.
Absolutely.
It's a resource, you know.
Yes.
And then obviously we use some of it to save for our animals that we talked about a little bit before. But, but this area, most of the stuff I didn't plant anything actually that's growing in this area. Most of the green that you see, that all self-seeded from last year.
No way.
Watermelon, cantaloupe.
Was that by design, or it just kind of started happening and then you?
Well, so the deer were a problem, but they're also kind of the solution. So they kind of seeded everything for me, you know, as they dug into the watermelon and scattered that seed a little bit. Then as I put more wood chips on top, you know, then that next year it's like, oh, that's not a weed, that's watermelon coming up, awesome. You know. So then I just weed every, you know, I don't let them all grow, you know, but
thin it out a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit. Yep.
Okay.
But
that's fantastic. So very permaculture it looks like in terms of what you got going, like a little bit of a lot mixed together. Yeah,
my mom doesn't like that too much. She comes down and helps, so she has some sort of say in the garden because she helps out quite a bit. She'll come down and weed and do certain things. And so as we get around to the other half of the garden, you'll see there's more rows and it looks more organized. Either got to be on a mower and cut it down, or I wait and cut it with my scythe. Then the more I use it, the more efficient I get. And so as you can see, I got my tarp when I put all the grass on it from over there.
Yep.
And just, you know, various places, but there I got a couple more stacks. And just bring it over here and
pile it up.
So I'll pack it down and then eventually make a cap for it. Then I can use that here in the garden. So all this will just be used mainly for the garden, and then I'll have other hay storage out there for the animals. So those were supposed to be thornless honey locust trees. Yeah. But
definitely not.
As you can see,
they're not thornless.
They're full of thorns. So I'm gonna have to contact those people and say what happened. But anyway, so it's just one of those things.
Okay.
So I don't know if they have thorns for a few years and then they lose them.
Oh sure.
I don't know. I don't want to jump to conclusions. I don't want to cut it down until I find that out. So,
so talk to me about the elderberry. So like how did you plant that? Was it bare root as well, or?
That one was just a transplant.
It was.
Yeah. So there's.
Because I want to plant this too. Oh yeah, here it is too.
Oh,
okay.
So basically, I'll just demonstrate because most of this is weeds anyway. So that's how they spread by the root and then they send up a plant just like that.
Oh, gotcha.
And so if you take this with, you know, compost or whatever, and you take that up with you and plant that and water it,
you're good.
An elderberry tree.
So how old is this plant?
That's gonna be 2-3 years. And I've been pruning it, keeping it down. If I hadn't pruned it at all, it would just be
it'd be crazy
bush. Yeah. But you can see like through there, you can actually see the stems because I.
Oh sure, yeah. So,
process of that,
with elderberries, isn't there a time period where it's like you shouldn't eat them, and then or how does that work?
Man, I do not know. Okay. I just, from what I've heard, elderberries are a good thing. So I was like, I'm gonna put those babies in the ground, and I can figure out more about them later. Same with comfrey. You know, I've heard that comfrey is a good plant to have. So boom, ordering comfrey. Got that planted in multiple spots. Like here's a patch of it right here.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Right there.
Love it.
It's yarrows. I can't remember where we got that or if that's native. But yeah, we have yarrow that grows up.
That looks like my oh gosh, what's it called? Milkweed a little bit. What is yarrow? What is this used for?
Some people use it for medicinal uses. I don't know exactly. But I mean, it's pretty. It has a pretty solid root system, and so my plan with starting it like this is to try to block the Bermuda grass from creeping in that way.
Yep.
As well as the comfrey too. That has a ridiculous root system. So I'm trying to build like a wall of roots, and then because I've heard of that working before at people's market gardens and things like that. So
the Bermuda grasses.
Yes. Yeah,
We'll use
it's
it
a constant
as-
battle.
Oh my god.
We'll use it as filler too when we make. The girls like to make bouquets for people.
Oh, totally.
And so we'll use it.
Bro, the
Being-
squash bugs.
I like begged them to do a netting
Yeah.
over it. and-
Okay, yeah, so we do, you know, I'm
We
out
did-
there killing squash bugs. I feel like that's a waste of time, you know, because there's just
Yeah.
thousands of them always coming back.
Constant.
We tried putting netting up, and that like kept the pest inside, so it destroyed all this stuff. So I'm like, get that netting out of here.
Yes.
So the way what I've heard is if you want to try to maintain or keep a pest population down, you have to be the predator in that
Right.
ecosystem. And so I would rather let nature kind of bring in its own predators and have that balance out, versus me constantly, you know,
I don't think you can ever win.
can't. You know, I'm sure there are, you know, true pests and
Uh-huh.
things that can just decimate your
Right.
stuff. But at the same time, I don't think God made any mistakes when He created. So,
Yeah. I love
If
that,
it's a
man.
back
That's
to Eden method, then I don't think Adam and Eve are out there smashing bugs.
Squash bugs. These vine borers this year.
Yeah,
Crazy. That's great.
yeah, that's another pair.
Oh, that's pear. Okay.
Yeah, so the deer, this one, the deer,
Mm-hmm.
I had it pruned to a central leader. Deer came and just destroyed it. And so
Yeah.
I thought about digging it up, but I was like, I'm just gonna let it go. And
Yeah.
sure enough, we had a few more sprouts come back, and I think
Yeah.
this is from below the graft union.
Okay.
But if I graft onto that, then I can
Yeah.
grow whatever variety I want. So
That's
my
amazing.
plan is to have an open center
Uh-huh.
with
Love
different grafts on it. So
it. Love it. Love it.
And we've got the two
Oh, yeah.
pear trees out there that
Oh, wow.
are from when my papa and granny were here. So.
yep,
Yeah,
so-
look how
And
mature
they
those
and they
are.
produce. So it's
I was over there looking at that. There's tons of pears on them.
yeah.
And you harvest in when? Like, isn't late August, September, something like
feel
that?
Like
October,
it was
I feel
fall. Yeah.
Fall.
September, October, we got those.
Okay.
But yeah, it needs a round of pruning. But all those, which you can't really see it too well from here,
Uh-huh.
probably, especially not from your camera, but all those upright shoots,
Yep.
I'll save all those for fodder in the wintertime. Yeah, that was it.
Dang, dude, that is wild.
Yeah. So I didn't even have a handle here. I was holding it like this, and I
Yep.
hold it like that,
And it
just like this.
Yeah.
Yep. And so you can see the difference of. Here, let me grab my other one.
Yeah. That's an old one.
Let me grab my other one,
Uh-huh.
my newest one.
Oh yeah, look at that bad boy.
Chuck Russ.
That's awesome.
Yeah, let me take my here. All right, so you can see the difference.
Yep.
So I cut, like I said, that whole half acre that you see right out there.
Uh-huh.
Cut it with that, and so now it doesn't take
Oh,
nearly as much
wow.
time with this blade.
That is
can
wild.
see
And
it.
so did
Yeah.
you bought the handle and everything?
Yeah, I
like
got
you
this one
just-
from Sweden. It's the Nordic snap, but
Wow.
you can use a tree branch and
Uh-huh.
make your own if you wanted. But,
Right.
from the videos I watched and the guy who I learned from, this is his specific design, and so it's
Wow.
super comfortable.
So
It's
what
still- it's
what
super
attracted
light.
you to that? Because that's like such a like I said, never seen anybody else doing that.
I don't remember what attracted
it
me
looks
to
cool?
it or how it started, but I think Jim Kowaleski, that guy off of
Yeah?
YouTube,
Yeah.
he was showing it. I was like, if that old man can do that, I was like, surely I can put some grass down.
For
You know, I was like, he's cutting that much. I was like, I only have 3 acres up here. He's
Yeah.
cutting 15, or whatever every
Yeah.
season. I'm like, okay, this is. So anyway, I started learning and just practicing with it,
Yep.
and so
And does that blade last you like it's good, or do you sharpen it?
you got
or
to
do have
sharpen.
get
You got to
replaced?
sharpen it constantly.
Okay.
And if it's dull, you just have to use a whole lot more force, more
Yep.
risk of breaking it, like I did. I've broken like
Oh,
3.
you-
I've broken like 3 now, so I'm learning.
People will ask me, like ladies that come to the gym, they're like, "Oh, does he do that for a workout?" And I'm like,
No.
"No."
I'm just
They're like,
getting some
"Really?"
votes,
That's
know?
his
Yeah.
that's his resting. That's what
Yeah.
he does. Yeah,
We-
in the
we
off
get-
days.
I'll show you more about that later. So I had we got piglets. We had like 5 of them, and so they were in here,
Okay.
so they could go inside if they wanted. That's where they slept.
Yep.
And then they can come out here. But then they've since graduated, so they're out there on pasture.
Okay.
We
Look at
got
this
another
guy.
big piglets over there.
So was this all built then? It looks like you reinforced some things. But...
Yeah. So the only thing,
Okay.
like all the pallets and stuff weren't here. The only
Okay.
thing that was here was like this post, all the older posts that you see.
Yep.
And
Yep.
so I started building little pens and
Yeah.
corrals and stuff, and
That's fantastic.
putting gates on things. And so so this was the first one that I well no, actually I built that one first because we had the cows,
Okay.
and then we got pigs, so I built this
Yeah.
little section, and then we got these piglets, so we built that section. So
Wow.
when it's feeding time, it gets loud.
He gets a little crazy.
It used to get way louder,
guy.
but
Yeah, this thing sounds cool.
they got little bit of shade, not enough probably, but
And you just hang out with the pigs sometimes? Just go in there?
Do you like feeding the
Not much
pigs?
anymore.
Not even much anymore?
I'd love to.
How old are these guys?
let's see.
Okay.
Man, I got 10. I feel so bad about keeping up with how
Uh-huh.
things are. I just know if they're big enough to eat, then that's all.
Yep.
That's all enough.
So how long do you let them grow?
So let's go look at the ones out here, and then you can kind of see
Yeah, sure.
what we're trying to get them to. So originally, when I first had them out here, they were in this section, so you can see.
Oh, sure, yeah.
You can see where
you
the
can
grass
totally.
is just a little
Yep.
bit taller.
Yep.
Right there, and so it wasn't like a perfect square, but
Yeah, let's get closer.
they're
That
really
one.
easy to take care of.
So what are you mainly feeding the
Go
pigs?
far.
So I give them a small grain portion at
Okay.
in the afternoons, but mainly I give them grass. So right now I moved them to fresh paddock just a couple days ago.
Mhm.
And so they'll probably since it's kind of small, they'll only be here for a couple more days before they'll need more grass. And so I either have to bring them grass that I've scythed, or I need to just move them to another spot. So they mainly eat grass all day,
Wow.
and they seem to be pretty happy until it gets about 4 o'clock, and then when I come out here, then they start letting me know they're hungry. But same with the piglets. And the piglets, you know, that you saw, they're not out here grazing, so I've got to bring the grass to them. So
Sure.
they mainly eat grass, and I give them, like I said, a small portion of grain every day,
Yeah.
and then whatever excess we have in the garden. My plan is to grow excess on purpose, you know,
Yes.
pumpkins. Like that's why I let all that watermelon grow, because
Yep.
I need
to
the
the-
volume, you know.
Give it to the pigs.
Exactly, and so,
Or cantaloupe
I would-
that's
Yeah.
not sweet enough.
Yep.
and-
Yeah.
or all those cucumbers, it's like, man, I would much rather eat bacon than
Yeah,
cucumber anyway.
Come on now.
So
Come on
that's why
now.
we got them.
So-
So I plan on planting more trees and stuff back here to help support them, because all the big trees that you see right here,
Yep.
just like out in the front, are all pecan trees as well.
Oh,
So they're
no
planted
way.
on 60-foot centers, just like the front.
Wow.
So essentially, I could plant more trees and, you know, make perfect rows, and
Uh-huh.
grow different nut species and things like
Yeah.
that for them. And
Wow.
yeah,
So how much time do you think it takes to maintain this size of a homestead?
that's an impossible question.
Infinite amounts
It's
of.
constant, but
Yeah.
there's seasons, you know.
Mhm.
There's seasons for cutting grass.
Yep.
You know, there's seasons for making charcoal. You know, there's seasons for pruning
Making
trees.
charcoal.
Yeah, oh yeah. Over
Why are
there
we
in
making?
that
What are we
pit,
making charcoal for?
It's like the soil amendment, or
Really?
it's a feed to the animals as a supplement. Yeah.
Oh,
It's like,
very cool.
You've heard of activated charcoal
Yep,
before, like
yep.
little capsules,
Yep.
you know. So I put charcoal in their feed every day,
No
just
way.
as an additional supplement. And then the other charcoal I'll put in there, mix in with their I call the wood chips and their manure, and in the compost, and so that way it gets inoculated.
Oh.
Then it becomes biochar, because then
Yes.
it's biologically activated,
Uh-huh.
and then you put that in the garden, and that's a good soil amendment. So
I'm learning so much.
yeah, I mean,
man.
you
That's
got it's
crazy.
just there's so much information out there, and I'm not an expert on any of it, you know.
Yeah.
But if I can take little bits and pieces and just apply them, you know, take from people who have been doing it for decades, you know,
Yeah.
take those things and just start applying them, then you get to.
Well,
see
that's
the
I think
benefits.
myself and a lot of gardeners get caught up in that, because you start reading books and you're like,
Yeah.
okay, to have pigs, I need this and I need this and I
Right.
need this and I need this, and it's like then people don't even start
Right.
Yeah.
because it almost seems impossible
Right.
and
It's overwhelming.
Or
it's
try to-
overwhelming.
You got to balance out your soil to get this
Correct.
this percent of.
Test your soil to make
Yeah,
you know?
potassium,
Yeah,
and
the
if you're not-
phosphorus wasn't high enough,
You
so your
need
tomato.
to do the calculations to see how much potash you need to put. Sprinkle.
Yes.
No, just I don't think you need to know all that. Some of
Yeah.
those things might be beneficial, but yeah, for most places, like
Uh-huh.
wherever you got grass growing, if you put some animals on it,
Yeah.
like that land is going to the fertility is going to increase.
Yeah.
You know, once you start getting animals on the land and stuff.
Yeah, I respect that a lot. I think that the most important thing is just to start, and then
Yeah.
you kind of learn. And you make mistakes. Like when I tell people that are starting to garden, it's like your first year you're gonna mess everything up.
Oh yeah.
But that's like the process, you
Yeah.
know. And the best
Yeah.
way to learn is by your stuff getting eaten by everything,
Yeah.
and then you got to figure out how to iterate again.
Exactly.
You know, it's kind of like a beautiful, I don't know, like an annual art type
Right.
of thing. You know.
Yeah, so homesteading is it's a constant. It's a constant thing, and so that's why we work from home.
Yep.
And so it's convenient. I wouldn't say it's easy, but it's convenient for me to be able to have some clients in the morning, and then do some work on the homestead, you know, for a couple hours, and then have more clients, more work on the homestead. It's easy to be able to come out here and manage it all.
Yeah.
Again, I use that word easy, but it makes it.
It's easier than if you had a
Yeah.
full-time
He's-
Exactly.
office job.
He's
So,
a hard worker.
Same with Sarah in the coop, you know, because she's out there every day, you know, with the coop, but it's right by the house, you know,
Right.
where she's spending more of her time baking bread and things like that.
Yeah.
And so
Are you doing the sourdough thing?
Yeah, I was like, speaking of that, I need to go put my loaves in. But yeah, I bake sourdough bread.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
That's
and all
absolutely amazing.
sourdough things.
That's so cool.
well, the Bible says, "He who works his land will never lack bread." So it's
I
like,
love it.
If you, as long as you're working,
I
then.
have to crank out a lot of bread. John's eating it all.
I got a reminder of that verse. I'm like, Sarah, it's right here.
Remember what the Bible
Not later.
said.
I'm
Put
trying
the
to lack
loaf in
bread.
now. And is this like a daily thing to make sure they're cooled off?
Yeah.
Okay.
We usually do it in the morning.
Yeah.
The water in the hose, because it's not underground, it
It
gets
gets
hot.
hot.
So yeah.
For sure.
They don't want to. They don't want a hot bath, you know.
Would you say the pigs are easier than the chickens and the sheep thus far, or?
I would say the sheep are probably the easiest, just because
Okay.
they don't. I mean, I don't feed them anything. They
Right.
just eat whatever's green. So the pigs take more input, but they're just easy. You know, it's like whenever I need to move them, all I got to do is put their food bowls where I want them to go. They go eat, and I take the netting and just set it up around them. It's like they don't have any problems.
It doesn't even smell or anything back here at all. In the whole place, like even in your.
Yeah,
That's
so
wild.
as long as you keep enough, what Joel Salatin would call like carbonaceous material, so wood chips basically, or dried leaves, things like that. As long as that'll neutralize the smell of the manure. So, and then like out here, you can see with these little bits of piles of wood chips, wherever they pooped, I just covered it
Cover it up.
a little bit, and eventually that'll break down. So
Okay.
soil's slowly building up over time.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then in their pen, you know, where you saw all the wood chips in there,
Yeah.
again, all that just being all mixed together, eventually break down into awesome compost.
Absolutely.
And then that'll get spread either in the garden or
Yep.
wherever.
And so you're on city everything, city water, city electric. That's nice.
Yeah, and that is nice, but I rely on it, you know. So
Correct.
I'd rather have rainwater catchment systems and pumps and all
You
that
haven't
stuff.
explored any of that yet?
Not yet. No. I need to for sure. We've got a rain barrel that I need to set up, but it's all that stuff you're
The
talking about.
extra things.
All the time it takes, you know. It's like
That's
what's
it.
priority, you know. Priority though, the pigs have to be moved. You know, that's a priority. Or, you know, I got to cut grass for XYZ or whatever it is, you know. So, like I said, because I don't have all the infrastructure in place just yet, they've got access to the whole thing. So.
Wow, man, it's beautiful. So is the cow mostly just, hey, we have that cow there? There's not plans, or are there plans for?
Well, so like I said, those 2 cows were given to us for free at a time we needed it, and so we've got some friends that are needing some livestock as well. So we decided to give them to them. So they're in the process of building their their little their barn and everything right now. They're getting their fencing set up. So they're actually going to be going to another farm here probably in the next couple weeks.
Wow.
But I do want to get another cow out here, probably like a steer that we would just raise up just for meat, and then run him or her, you know, him along with the sheep.
Sure.
Just to have a multi-species.
Yeah.
You
You ever
know,
thought about doing goats?
Thought about that, but just from hearing how hard they are to handle, or they can be, I'd much rather take the safer route.
They can be kind of destructive, right? Like.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I've heard.
Whether it's tearing up property or getting out mainly.
Right. Right.
I'm trying to keep everything inside.
Yes,
you know, and so
yes.
I don't want any extra challenges.
So what breed or what species of sheep are these?
So there's a mixture of them in there. But
Okay.
the bigger ram right in front of you, he's I think he's St. Croix and Dorper mix.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken, or maybe Katahdin and Dorper. And the other ones are St. Croix and Katahdin, I believe.
Okay. And did you pick those specifically because of their production or how fast they grow, or?
Yeah, so the hair sheep mainly because they're grow for meat, not for their wool.
Right.
So meat, and then parasite resistance is another one. And then also they're really I like the sheep better because of their gestation period's a lot it's a faster turnaround. So I mean, they can start breeding at 7 months, and then
No kidding.
a year later they'll have, you know, their first calf. I didn't grow up on a farm or anything, and so all this is just trying to learn as I go.
I love it.
So in the morning I'll get a little a bin full of grass. It takes literally like 30 to 60 seconds to fill that up, and then just take that out to the piglets. And so I'll feed them just that grass throughout the day. Dump it over there where the other grass is. Just put a few different piles so they. So that'll keep them satisfied until the afternoon, whenever they get their grain portion for the day. But
I love how they just know what to do.
Yep.
And is it, I mean, in terms of your research, it doesn't matter necessarily what type of grass.
Well, I give them a mixture from different parts. So I don't know my grass species.
Yeah.
So I try to give them a variety. You know,
Gotcha.
I notice they eat some, they don't eat some. I give them different leaves of different trees and stuff like that. They'll eat some, they won't eat some.
So this is the charcoal. So this is just you burning.
Yep, just burning different branches and things like that. And so then if it's nice and clean, then you can grind it up and you can consume it yourself if you want to.
Really?
Yep.
Does it have to be a certain type of wood?
I don't know. I don't think so, because this is just all the carbon in it, so I would think it'd all be the same. But I mean, if it's probably not from like a pressure treated piece of wood, I want to. Yeah, I would think that'd be the case.
Okay.
But
yeah, let's go check it out.
But yeah, so I'll either mix this in like wherever they poop mainly, you know. I'll just sprinkle this all in throughout there.
Yeah.
And then mix that in, and so eventually it'll all get inoculated, and then it'll eventually go out in the garden, like I said, and it'll all be.
So how long has this been here, this pile? Do you know?
Been here for, it started in last summer.
Okay.
Last spring.
So it's been here a while.
Last spring.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so it's just slowly I'll rake and just rake wood chips on top, take their poop. Pigs are real cool. They'll poop kind of generally in one area.
Okay.
They won't poop by where they sleep, unlike every other animal like that. But they'll come over here, they'll do their business, and then they'll go lay down, you know. And so I just kind of keep it maintained and keep it all swept. Like you say, you can't smell anything.
No, dude. I mean, you smell like dirt. Yeah. But it doesn't smell poop.
Yeah.
It doesn't smell like nasty. You know?
Right. That's just because all the wood chips and keeping it all mixed.
Yeah.
Thoroughly. But yes, all that'll break down, and I can turn it in here if I wanted, or I could take that out and or I can put it in. I got some compost bins back behind there, so I can take it in there and let it get some more.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we just have so much waste, you know. So just all the different weeds and everything.
Love it.
This was a shed. They had a bunch of stuff stored. I mean, that hadn't seen the light of day in like ages. So we got all that cleaned out, and then John fixed up a few things. Like this wasn't here.
Yep.
You can keep on.
This. Wow. And they just kind of come in and out.
Yep. They have a little ramp over there that John built. John built the roost, the nesting boxes.
Oh yeah, there they are there. So that's where they lay.
Yep. Well, supposed to.
It's a little bit all over the place.
Yeah. Chickens, they're really good about laying in here. The ducks, man, they'll lay wherever, and they like bury their eggs.
Really? Oh,
yeah. So.
So I hear that ducks are a lot messier than
they are.
Chickens.
They are. So like this poop right here, like it's a lot.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
It's a lot more wet. Also with like chickens, like you can have like a little thing of water. We've got back here. You can keep something little like that, and they're fine with that. Ducks like to put their head in water. They like to be in the water. So we can go around back, and I'll show you our little water things we've got back there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I rinse these out 2 or 3 times a day.
Do you really?
When it's hot, to give them fresh cold water. I mean, with ducks, they're hard to keep clean. they'll go out here and they'll forage for stuff.
That's amazing.
I'll throw scraps over the fence and they all fight over them.
And you don't have problems with them just going away?
I mean, they'll go pretty far.
They went past the fence, their neighbor's fence, one time.
One time, yeah.
And then when one of them didn't come back because of a fox, and they're like, hey, let's not go that far.
Yeah, for real.
Let's not go that far.
Since then, they stay. Now they'll go up there towards the pigs. They go up pretty far on the hill over there. But they come back. They all get in the coop at night, so I just have to come out here and shut it up on this side, close it on the other side, you know. But like I said, the ducks, they're notorious for laying eggs wherever. So sometimes it's like I feel like I'm on an Easter egg hunt. You know.
They do. Do they lay one a day like the chickens do?
Yeah, but
Approximately.
it depends on what breed you have. And at first, when we first started getting chickens, and it's like ooh, you know, and then now I'm like, I don't care. A lot of people get into that. I will say that we like having black chickens better, just because there are hawks out here, and so we've had a couple get taken by hawks. And usually the black ones they don't mess with because they don't like crows. So we do have crows around here, which is a great thing. They help keep the hawks away.
I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah. So if we buy more chickens, I'll get black chickens. You know, in color. Yeah.
Huh.
So, but
gorgeous.
the ducks, they usually, I feel like they lay a little bit better than the chickens, just because temperature-wise, they're not affected as much. They're not as finicky as chickens are, but
And where do you get the ducks from? Are this like family and friends kind of bringing them over as well? And
through word of mouth, Facebook. There's lots of swaps around here. So we went and got some, they're called runners. So I don't know if you saw the ducks earlier. They're more upright.
Oh, okay.
When they walk or when they run.
Yeah.
Our white ones that we have, they're probably our biggest ones.
Okay.
We have a Cayuga a friend gave us.
Okay.
He's the all black and like emerald. He's right in the middle.
Yeah.
He's a drake. But yeah, they're fun. They are messier, but
they're cool.
They're fun.
Yeah, they're pretty too. Gosh, I would just sit. I'd have a bench and I'd just read a book, sit out here, look at this. This is so beautiful. This is so pretty. It just
a car was coming and she stopped, just turned right around and just walked all the way back up through here, and I was like, man, I gotta get that fence built. So
so do you use, is it T-post and then your
we can walk in there. It's pretty cool. I got the post from one of my buddy's properties.
Okay.
It's black locust, if I'm not mistaken. There.
Oh, that's the mulberry.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, totally. Look at it. It's beautiful.
Yeah, so I pruned a little bit of that out. There's another one coming up. I'm sure there's going to be more, you know, throughout here.
What is that? Is that a pear?
I think it's a pear.
It looks like it.
So what we'll do is, this is a good example. Sarah just got done taking this out of the coop, and so we'll spread it around these trees. And this is all from, you know, mixture from the chickens and the ducks and all that. So we'll spread that around and kind of just fertilize as needed along this hillside. These are a couple apple trees that were already here that I think her grandpa planted. I can't say that for sure, but I'm pretty sure they're about this.
Oh, both of these here.
Yep.
Yep.
And so those haven't produced like I was hoping they would. So I might need to just use that and graft onto it and hope and maybe get a different variety that produces a little bit better. I used to be so scared of spiders, so scared, just terrified. And I literally, when I was out there gardening, I had to pray. I was like, God, please take away my fear of spiders, please. And now, sure, I don't want them crawling on my arm, you know, but I'm not scared of them. Like, I would literally stop cutting, and there'd be hundreds of them right there. So just kind of old school style where you stick through and wind it up, you know?
Yep.
To tighten the ends.
I love it. Oh, do you do mushrooms as well?
Oh. Yeah, lion's mane, shiitake. Those are the ones I've done in the past.
Okay.
But
have you had success with that? Is that pretty?
Yeah, with lion's mane for sure, and shiitake both. But I just haven't perfected it, you know, and like the right they need to be for the most fruiting. They need to be in the right conditions, and I just haven't perfected that part yet. But you know, I have the experience with it, so I know how to do it. And
you just take a log and then do you buy the spores? Is that how it works?
Yeah, you can.
Or the mycelium?
You can buy the spores and grow the mycelium yourself, or you can just buy the the mycelium already.
I think I've seen that.
Ready, yeah, and it's in sawdust usually, or they sell like little dowels, wooden dowels that you just hammer in. So
yes, I have seen those. Yep, and that's what you do. And then do you like keep them wet? Do you water?
Yeah, you can. I don't know. Like I said, like over the winter, I think you're supposed to store them stacked together tightly, so that way it stays warmer, so that way it grows better. And then some logs you can soak for 24 hours, and that helps force them to flush, like the shiitakes and things like that. But you know, there's plenty of people on YouTube that have mushroom cultivation videos that people can check out. But
I remember you posting some of that stuff.
Yeah, there's tons of different ways you can do it, whether it's in a log or in a bucket or in wood chips, you know, or a straw bale. You know, there's all sorts of different ways you can grow edible mushrooms. But.
So if someone was wanting to see some, because I know you post a couple videos on TikTok and stuff, where would they find that?
Let's see, TikTok, it's Fit Fungi 20.
Okay. Just
like fungi, just like mushrooms, you know. But or on Instagram, it's JP Thomas 20. Or no, it's John P. Thomas 20. I'll need to double check that, but I can text you and let you know. But yeah, as much of it as I got going on out here, I try to get on social media as little as possible, just because I'm trying to
get away from all that.
Trying to get away from that, but at the same time, I'm trying to grow quickly. You know, got big plans for the future and want to get some infrastructure done. You know, so it makes my job easier. And
are you posting for the fitness stuff?
Not as much, no, just because there's so many people out there that are posting workouts and things like that. I feel like that industry is kind of, I don't know, saturated. There's plenty of people out there doing that. Not too many people out. There's not that many homesteaders out there, you know, but then also people homesteading and scything, you know, and using that as a tool. So hopefully I can get some more people interested in that and see the benefits of it.
Yeah.
So.
Talk to me about, again, so we weren't recording, but talk to me about how not cutting has allowed you to see some of the things that take longer.
Yeah, because this hillside specifically is real rocky. Like I see a lot of rocks, you know, when I'd cut grass, and so I was like, I'm just gonna let this just go, you know, rather than keep cutting it and taking all that fertility away. I'm just gonna let it build. And so I've noticed different species come up, you know, different trees. Like I don't know if that's pine or cedar or what, but it's like there's one example. There's some wild like pear trees and plum trees and mulberry, which we talked about up there. All sorts of different species that have started to come up. And so with my scythe, I'll go through, and if I want to keep that, I'll just simply cut around it, or if I don't want it, I'll cut right through it. But at least it gives you that opportunity to see what's already growing in that area, and then just let it do its thing, versus me going to buy a tree that I'm going to plant in a spot that it might not like. This obviously likes this spot.
It's working well.
It likes this spot.
Yes,
you know?
That's a great point. You don't think about that.
Let it do its thing.
Explain to me what we're about to do.
So right here, where I haven't mowed in a very long time, it's gotten kind of tall, you know. Yeah. But save time by not mowing and letting all this grow up. It's made quite a bit of material, plant material. So I'm gonna mulch with all that.
So talk to me about these tools that you're strapping up on with here.
These are a couple different stones, and this is only my second season scything. So everything I've learned has been from professionals off YouTube, you know, and so I might misspeak, you know, but somebody can correct me in the comments, I guess. But a couple different stones. One's more of a fine stone, and one's more coarse. This blade I haven't gone through, and it's called peening, where you hammer it out real thin. I haven't done that in a while, so I'm gonna use my coarser stone, so that way I know hopefully it'll make it sharp, you know. But basically just go along there. Everybody has their own little style of honing the blade. That's what it's called. Honing. Some people go all through the front first. Some people go forward and back. Some people turn around this way, you know. So this is just the way that I've come to learn to do it, and the easiest for me. I'll just go down the whole blade like that.
And are you finding that you're doing this multiple times while you're like in one session?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you hone it a whole bunch of times per session, but then you peen it after X amount of hours once you've been using it. So, and it depends on what you're cutting. So like
finer stuff, thicker stuff.
Yeah, this stuff's a little bit thicker, and so if I were to do a whole big section of all this, I'd probably have to hone a lot more often, or have to go and peen more often. But what you see most people will do is they'll come out here and they'll start doing this sort of thing, right? slicing at it like this, it's extremely inefficient, and you're not gonna get any grass cut. So you've got to keep the blade on the ground, and that cuts it right off at the base.
Wow. How long will you go at this in one session? How long have you gone before?
What's the longest?
Yeah.
Not super long. A couple hours maybe.
That's a long time.
It's not bad. There's a dude on YouTube. You can look him up. I think it's like 14 hours that he went inside for, and it's just ridiculous the amount of grass that he cut. So,
wow, dude.
A couple hours ain't nothing. So what I'm doing here along this side is I'm gonna leave just the edges a little bit longer. I'm gonna let that grow and flower and everything. So I'm kind of cutting just a little bit, and then I'll turn and then make a row. So this is how you would start. You just start cutting forward a little bit, pull that grass out. And you can make your, it's called a swath.
Is that like the area? How, yeah.
Yeah, the width basically.
Yep.
And so the way I've learned to be most effective is getting a lot of lateral movement side to side, kind of like that. Because
So
I'm more of a, I have an athletic background. I was a running back, you know, in high school. So this is kind of my stance, my style. Other people like to be like more upright with it, like this.
Yeah, I can see how that'd be like, you know, if you're a little older or
Yep.
you had back problems, you can go a little easier with it.
Just like that, but you can see how I just can't get as much grass.
Yeah,
cut. I'd
well,
much rather
absolutely.
get it out there.
And you know, if you compare it to mowing, like, of course it's a little bit slower, but even the width of what you've gotten is 3 or 4 passes of a regular size mower.
Yep.
You know?
And, you know, like I said, if I hadn't let this grow, I'd have to cut it way more frequently.
Right.
And so,
Like, how long do you think you've let this grow out here? This section?
this section, it's probably been probably 2-3 months.
Yeah,
About 3
so
months.
that's incredible. I mean, for me in my suburban lot, I'm mowing every other week at the longest.
Yeah,
You know,
for sure. 'Cause
usually
you don't,
every
then
week. Yeah.
You don't have a side that you're
That's it.
You're going to be raising your mower height and then, you know, clogging it up and all that sort of thing.
Yep.
But this, man, you can let this grow as long as you want it and then come through and
That's
cut
so
it,
cool,
you know.
man.
So I chose to cut this multiple times this year because I'm trying to get as much mulch as possible. And then also, once this regrows again, then I'll cut that grass for hay for the animals.
Wow.
Yeah, man, it's just, and it's really, you don't need a whole lot of force whenever you have a sharp blade. As long as your technique is decent and you keep the blade on the ground.
Right. And so are you keeping the weight, like, as you go through kind of in the middle of that blade, or is it more at the back?
That's a good question. It kind of changes. And so at the initial part of the stroke, it's more on the heel.
Yep.
And then it rolls to the front. And then at the end, ideally,
Kind
you're
of finishing off.
more on the tip like
scooping
that.
out.
And that's how you get a more even cut.
I can see.
A lot of times I'll go through here and I'll get done raking. I'm like, oh, I feel pretty good about that. And I see the grass isn't like completely level. It's like always shaped up. I'm like, man, I forgot to turn that tip down.
Yeah,
so I'm
yeah,
always thinking like about my technique when I'm going because I still haven't perfected it. But
Have you ever thought about like making your own scythes? I could totally see you doing something like that.
yeah, I actually, there's a couple branches off of that tree I've been eyeballing a little bit. I'm like, ooh, that one's curved a little bit, you know. And so
yeah.
I've got the hardware to mount the blade onto it. I just, maybe this summer I might, but this
How does the mounting work? Let me see the other side of that. So it's basically, you just drill that right in. Okay.
Yep, so this metal piece slides up and down. A little tool, a little Allen wrench, that's all it takes. And this blade right here is about, I want to say like 30 inches maybe.
Okay.
But there's other, you know, different lengths and different uses, but basically you loosen it up.
And then you can slide that thing up and down.
Yeah, you can slide that down.
Yep.
Take off the
yeah.
blade,
Wow.
put on a different one.
And that hardware is just screwed in at the top of
Yep.
the board. It's shaped and then screwed in.
Yep, that's how I bought this one. They're not all made quite this nice. It might just be just a piece of wood with a hole cut in it, but they put this extra reinforcing plate on there, and
That's
then also
fantastic.
so it's pretty solid.
Wow.
But then, you know, just playing with the different angles and stuff. It's like you can have it more closed like that, or you can have it open.
Sure.
And you can see how that would, it doesn't look like a whole lot of difference, but it is a major difference. Yeah.
Yeah.
And once you feel it, like you have to do a little bit of adjustment at first, and I'm still trying to play with what's the best angle for me, but yeah, it's either, sometimes if it's too open like this, you're more like chopping at it at a 90-degree angle versus slicing through it in an arc. And so yeah, it can be night or day difference. Ergonomics is huge.
Oh, I can imagine.
Right.
It's probably such an art form to have that. Yes.
Exactly. So if you use a tool, and anybody who uses tools regularly, it's important to have a nice tool whenever using it. One, for the efficiency of the job, and two, for how it feels, you know, and everything. But this upper handle right here, the way that it's shaped, the way that it's facing this way, and then the top part rests right here on your forearm.
Yeah, yeah.
So the first one that I bought, the handle's kind of like this, and you're kind of just using more of your wrist. But this one allows you to use your entire arm to guide and keep pressure down. So I come to a point in the grass where it didn't cut quite right, so I just was gonna trying to chop at it just to get this one little section, and I had it down like this, and went like that, and it just went and broke.
And that just goes to show you, like, the design of it is so perfect, because you can get all that torque coming the right way, but the second you do it the wrong way.
Well, that, but also just inexperience on my part. You know, I'd already been cutting for a little while, so I probably should have sharpened my blade before I did anything. And you know.
Yep. Lesson learned, right? It's all about lessons learned.
Yep. But yeah, so my normal working pace is probably like this right here. And I'll breathe through my nose. I should be able to have a conversation right here.
Yep. It's almost like a meditation, almost like this repetitive.
That's what everybody says.
Yep, I can see that.
I normally cut in the morning whenever I'm doing a bunch, simply because the grass cuts a little bit easier. It's a little more pleasant in the morning. It's not as hot. But even here, you know, the grass, when your blade's sharp enough, it still should.
It seems like it's cutting really clean.
Yep. And I'm not giving it too much ground pressure right now. But yeah, you can cut that thing through. You just scalp the ground if you want. These ones, you'll know when to harvest them, because this green husk will turn brown, and then the brown part will open up. So it's like as soon as it starts to open up, then you can harvest them. I mean, I guess you could harvest them a tad bit earlier if you needed, but they'll open once they start to open up. And I don't know exactly when that's going to be, but yeah, all these clusters right here. Wow. Once it's opened up, you can just shake it, and then all of them will